If you can hear this, do not adjust your Aethervox. This is the Avalon Society Emergency Broadcast Network. You're listening to a recount of the real events surrounding the catastrophe which occurred in the city of London at the end of May 1907. The sky above London is torn asunder as a dreaded interdimensional downpour drowns the city in a devastating deluge of destruction. As the dark waves continue their watery wake, high above the city, a battle concludes between our precariously positioned party and the now deceased Spring-Heeled Jack. As our soaked socialites attempt to flee the tower with the aid of the fire marshals, will our faithful heroes survive this torrent of terror? Stay tuned and find out in today's episode of London Falls!
G'day guys and welcome. My name is Michael and I am the Dead Aussie Gamer, and welcome back to Avalon Society London Falls, our Through the Breach game that is following the tale of these incredibly interesting socialites from the town of London and Bilham as they go through what is effectively a catastrophe. London is, of course, in peril. The skies have opened up with portals leading to the dark realm of Malifaux, but not just anywhere, to the deepest, darkest oceans, raining down a torrent of destruction upon the city. And of course, it is up to our heroes to not save the day, to not try and rescue as many people as they can, but to simply survive the night. Joining me, of course, is a wonderful cast of characters whom I have had the pleasure of enjoying the last few episodes. Starting, of course, we're going to have everyone introduce themselves and the characters that we will be playing. Starting, of course, with none other than Professor Scarpati, played by none other than the lovely Till. Hello, Till.
Hi, nice to be here again. Thank you for having me. I'm Till from Dungeon Fog, the online map-making software, and I'm playing Professor John Scarpati, an old, shady, well, let's call him smuggler, who run under the facade of being a professor of archaeology, and I'm just too old to still run my business. So I'm A, trying to retire, and B, I have found Bilham, my associate, who I hopefully can hand over my business later, although I fear that I might be killed in the process of handing that over by my associate.
Oh yeah, so it's kind of like a Sith rules, you know. If you train one, then they have to, of course, replace you by murdering you. Makes some sense. I mean, yeah, of course, why not? Speaking, of course, of none other than the tiny little opportunistic gremlin, Bilham is played by the ever wonderful and ever bearded Anthony from Roll for Damage. G'day, Anthony.
Hey, how you going? Yes, I play Bilham, who is kind of still a rambunctious I want to say Yahoo, but he is more of a scampy bum-like individual who has been working of the long con for the longest amount of time. But I think his opinion is somewhat changing now that his life has been threatened multiple times.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we'll get to see how that goes. But last week, Billum did make a rather fast and steadfast bosom buddy when he was spent most of I think the latter half of the episode clutched in the loving and caring embrace of none other than one Sebastian Edward Hargrave Montague, played by the ever talented Guy from How to Be a Great GM. G'day, Guy.
I'm not entirely sure your interpretation of last week's events match or correlate with the actual crime that was perpetrated during the saving of Big Ben. As you'll recall, the list of items that Professor Scarpati will be paying for later is growing. To wit, at the moment, it is 2 pairs of shoes and some socks. Not to mention the mental damage of having a gremlin attached to your person. It's very, very upsetting. Absolutely. But yes, my name is Guy, and I'm from How to Be a Great GM, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we go, because it only seems like we're going to be going down and to death's door, given where we ended last week.
Been there, done that.
Well said, of course, by none other than the undead receptionist from the University of Transmortis herself, none other than the wonderful Madame Ludovica, played by the ever wonderful Myri. G'day, Myri.
You're so sweet introducing us like that, like we're all those talented, interesting people, me especially. Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, I'm Myri. I'm from Orkenspalter TV, and we do RPG stuff and collateral on a YouTube channel and Twitch. It's mostly German, so be warned. But you know, like Anthony dropped in yesterday. Nice of you to share. And Michael comes in once in a while, and people start translating. And yeah, we're always happy to see the international guys hop in and try to feel you welcome. And I'm playing Ludovica von Dorste zu Mellenbeck, who used to be a German aristocrat, tiny aristocrat, and now is an undead receptionist, basically, which also means that sometimes she has to catch corpses that have started walking away and things like that. And right now she's trying to not die again, I guess.
Well, I mean, if obviously corpses are Ludovica's business, then business is booming, because we,
Ooh,
of course,
yes.
we, of
But, you know,
course. Oh, sorry, go on.
drowned corpses, waterlogged corpses, that's not good business.
Oh,
They don't
there's a
keep
market for
well.
it. There's a market for it. They're called the drowned, actually, specifically the type of undead that you can make from a person who is all bloated and swollen. They make hardy and rather juicy minions for the more discerning necromancer. But
The thing is, my boss, he welds the corpse
Yeah,
parts to machine parts, and I think the drowned ones might be too juicy for that to work.
maybe.
So
But
we'll see.
well,
Let's try to survive.
but also a fantastic hypothesis to pose to the good doctor should ever you find yourself in his company again.
These corpses bring their own water for the steam engine.
That's it. It's exactly it. All right, you know what? We're gonna jog on. I feel like we could talk a while for that. And of course, unfortunately, not joining us today in person is none other than Janet from World Anvil. We do send her all of our love, as she's a little bit under the weather, but she plays the role of Hortensia Fiddlewick, prima donna of the London Opera, and she has also found herself in a rather frightful state, and is trying her best to keep her composure and demeanor in the steadfast appearance that she portrays to her fellow friends and comrades. Now, when last we left off, Big Ben was, well, slightly on an angle as a huge torrent of water that had come cascading down the roads of Westminster, crashing into the side of the monument and forcing it to lose its structural integrity. High at the top of Big Ben, our heroes battled a giant demon with massive wings. Eddie, by the way, who is our behind the scenes guy. Can we get a shot of Spring Heel Jack just real quick? You can see this huge, nasty, monstrous beast did do glorious battle atop Big Ben, but its giant weight caused the entire building to shift. Some were dragged out into the open weather, the rain pelting down upon them. And it wasn't until the rather hungry Billum tore off one of the creature's arms with his bare teeth, just go with it, that the creature died and fell plunging into the icy cold waters below. But this was, of course, not to spell doom, as Billum was tied off to a rope. He grabbed hold of Edward and swung towards Big Ben. A group of firefighters standing atop the Parliament House noticed our precariously hung friends and have offered some assistance, offering an idea to swing onto a building rolling down the Thames. Our heroes were to set up a secure zip line so that people could evacuate Big Ben, so that the firemen and the soldiers waiting on top of the Parliament House could rescue them promptly. I feel like there's an objection coming from Edward. Yes, yes.
I want to point out, I am not precariously hung. I am moderately hung. Thank you very much.
You know what? I heard it when I said it, and that was yeah, fair enough. Touche. We now find ourselves in the heat of the rain as basically this deluge is pouring down from the sky. It is not coming from the precipitation of natural weather, but it is the icy spray of the deep sea of Malifaux, which is slowly but surely rising in water level, not only in the Thames, but the streets itself. Buildings and detritus have been just torn asunder and rolling down these torrents of powerful waves. And of course, on one of the buildings, which has been lashed to the top of Big Ben, is none other than Edward and Billum, who look expectantly, hoping that their comrades still atop Big Ben will be able to use the zip line and slide down towards the safety of the building that they're on. It is only a matter of time before the rope gives way. The building strains and creaks. It's banging hard against the side of the channel, and the rope itself is still a rope. While thick and built like a sailor kind of rope, you know, the huge chunky ones, this is not designed to take this kind of weight or strain. We start at the top of the tower. John, what do you do?
I would like to check out if the zip line's still holding, and I will turn around to Miss Drosted Mullenbeck, and I will say, my lady, I think you should go first. I will secure the line from up here.
Do you think that's a good idea, being a twig of a man as you are?
Well,
should we not secure this rope with something more stable, like parts of the building? Hop, hop.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to tie it somewhere and just make sure that the knot holds.
Yes. I'll help you. Give me that end. And Ludovica will use her knowledge of, hauling.
Let's go with engineering.
Waterlogged corpses and things like that.
All right, let's go with engineering. So I'd like you to flip from the top of our fate deck an engineering check to just see if we can figure out the best places.
Engineering is
intelligence if you do not have it as a skill. Now,
yeah, since we're both up there, I think you can count me as assisting you.
All right. So that is a 12.
I do want to say, whoever drew my cards.
That's a 13, because I'm dead, but my brain's still working.
Yeah, it's still working. Whoever drew your cards, I drew your cards. Why? Do you have an issue?
You can draw them anytime you like.
Oh, all right. So you find a very strong central strut in order to secure the zip line as tight as you can. The rope definitely looks secure. The problem is the integrity of the rope itself. Still, there is only a limited amount of time, but you have managed to secure it nonetheless. Hortensia, looking up at the precipice of the ledge, says, Are you sure, dear? I fear as though that perhaps there might be a better way or a more delicate way to disembark the Big Ben. I mean, a lady does not simply leap from the top of the tower.
Oh, well, under these circumstances, a lady does. Now, let me rephrase this. Hop, hop.
She looks and she says, "Oh, very well," and tucks the bottom of her skirt into like sort of these sort of straps by her. She basically folds them around so that they function a little bit more like pant legs than they do a frilly, fluffy dress. In order to reduce the drag, as she then takes a strip of fabric from her thigh and swings it over the ledge. Edward, you get you kind of can see she's got like a stocking kind of strap that she's now created a zip line tether to, as she look out below and swings downward. Now, because Hortensia isn't here, I'm going to give her a pass and say that she does successfully manage to succeed in the challenges to slide down the zip line right into the embrace of Sebastian Edward Hargrave Montague. However, I would very much like Edward to make me a athletics check or an evasion check. Athletics if you wish to grab the oncoming prima donna, and an evasion if you wish to dodge out of the way, as you see she is traveling at quite a velocity.
Yes. You see, this is where I'm torn between my client and life. And as much as I like my client, I think life is a better choice in this instance, because there is a lot of prima donna coming down that line. So I'm going to try and hold the arms, and then mysteriously trip. Oh my, look at that, I fell over. So we're going to try and evade, and the evade is, oh, I object to that most strenuously. Can I object to my own failure?
You can object to your own failures.
Very well. I object to my own failure and replace it rather with an 8.
All right, very well.
My
By
evade
cheating,
is 9.
well, you wouldn't need to object. You're just cheating on that one. But yes, you've cheated fate, and with a 9, as she is just about to reach you, you oh no, and stumble as she rolls tumbling to the ground. She sort of stands up and very very swiftly, like, you are very surprised at how quickly she can straighten herself up. Just a few moments pass, where she's looks a bit disheveled. Blink and you would have missed it. And now she then regains her composure and her proper stance. She looks up and she waves at Ludovica.
Ludovica looks at Scarpati. Well, do the women or the frail go first?
In your case, I think it's both, so please move along.
We will talk about this later. And she takes her umbrella, her parasol, and probably
Very well.
ruins it completely.
Does your parasol have one of those hooks on it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, easy. You hook it onto the edge. Now, as you slide down, what I require from you is an acrobatics check or an athletics check of your choice, and you just need to make this.
I'm not very good at both of those.
You just need to make a 6.
Yeah. Give me one card. One card. There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm afraid that's a 4.
It's a 4.
Object.
No, I'm fine. I can throw in an 8, which goes down to a 7.
Very well. After throwing in the 8, which goes down to a 7, you manage to slide. It's a little bit windy, which you don't expect, as you suddenly go to a 45-degree angle as it suddenly. And but you do manage to slide down. Edward, you're still down the bottom. Your hands are open wide to catch the embrace of Madame Ludovica. Do you athletics or do you evade?
Evade.
All right.
If you then catch Scarpati.
This one I fail, however, so I think I act as a sort of a soft landing.
Absolutely. Madam Ludovica, you barrel into the rather cushiony body of Edward, who is also sent plunging and rolling and tumbling into the onto the rest of the building. You now hear the sounds of bricks cracking and straining against the waters that are still pushing the building down the Thames that you're standing on. Um, the ropes themselves begin to snap, not all the way through, but if you've ever seen sailor's rope, there are lots of little tiny strands of twine that have been rolled into a large thick piece of rope. You see some of these twined on the edge have begun to fray. John, it is just you up in the top of the tower.
Well, I will then look around, check if we're really the last, if I'm really the last one up here, and then I will jump onto the rope and slide down.
All right. You as you go onto the rope, how are you grabbing onto it? Are you sort of Spider-Man climbing it? Are you sliding down on it? How are you making your way down?
No, I think no. I think I would use my jacket to throw it over and hold on to it.
Very well. You take out your rather um your alpaca leather jacket, one you remember you got from your tour of Saudi Arabia. As you swing it over the rope, you begin to slide down. As you do so, I will need an acrobatics or an athletics check from you. Dun, 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 dun. You're fine. All right. In fact, you're actually so fine that even though you're coming in at a speed, Billum, do you try and catch the professor as a curious question?
I indeed this time will step and try and jump myself in front of Sebastian to
Mhm.
catch the professor.
All right. You sort of stand there and you athletics or a evasion.
I will try. I'm going to try and catch. the
Now
athlete.
I'm gonna throw in an extra thing here before you. No, never mind. I was gonna say I was gonna throw in an extra thing here. If you choose to use evasion, it will deny Edward the ability to evade the oncoming doctor.
Oh, oh, oh! That is so juicy. But no, I won't. I will catch the doctor.
Very well. All
That
right.
is an 11.
John, as you make your way to the landing, you're actually not traveling as fast as Ludovica or Hortensio were. You've managed to actually create enough drag balanced with your own body weight to actually have a reasonably slow descent. Um, the building starts to snap, and you hear the sound of the beam breaking on the inside of Big Ben. As the rope suddenly goes slack, you are just about to miss your mark when Billum reaches down and grabs both your hands.
It's all right. I've got a drink for you. I'm gonna pull him up.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, do you still have the medallion I handed to you?
I got.
No, don't show it to me. Just keep it secure for now. I would like to have a look at it later.
I'll keep it hidden then.
You'll of course recall the medallion is the object that Springheel Jack had stolen from the London Museum that is supposedly containing a grimoire of some descript, a magical device used to conjure spells and magics. Now, your fight is not over. With the rope now gone, the building begins its tumble down the Thames, following the current further and further out to sea. As you pass by Parliament House, the firemen and soldiers alike have gathered up a series of these long ladders that they have fixed together using a mixture of ropes and straps and chains and tape and pretty much anything they can get their hands on in order to try and create a makeshift bridge over the Thames and above the building for you to grab onto. You will all have but one chance to grab onto this ladder before you miss your mark and are sent sailing down the river. Each of you need to make me either a athletics, an acrobatics, or a notice check, if you'd be so kind.
I'll happily do the notice check.
Me
That is
too.
an 8 of rams.
And that gets a +5, so I'm at 13.
Easy done.
I
7.
see everything.
That's a 10.
10 is also done.
I will have to go with a notice check.
Okay. Which is a 1.
I'm gonna try my hands at running across it.
Athletics.
Athletics. That's a 9.
All right. Edward.
I shall have to cheat fate.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, just saying. Putting that out there.
I feel that it's important that I do.
Okay.
So I get a grand total of 11.
11. What are you cheating with? Where
10 of masks.
10 of masks. Excellent. Excellent. With a 10 of masks, you indeed all managed to grab onto a piece of the ladder. Those of you who made your notice check, you watched as the ladder was approaching and timed yourselves perfectly to leap and grab onto some of the rungs. The weight, of course, causing a bit of a dip, which lowers it, and those of you who passed with an athletics or an acrobatics check managed to leap up and grab on as well. There are a couple of soldiers there as well who seem to be kind of, sort of wrestling and securing the bound edges of the ladders. And they say, quick, grab on, grab on. You watch as one of the soldiers reaches down and you notice that one person is not on the ladder. Hortensia has not made the ladder. The soldier reaches down to try and grab hold of her, and she reaches up, but the speed of the waves, the velocity that the building is traveling at, she just narrowly misses the fingertips of this soldier. And you watch as Hortensia looks with a poised grace, but a look of alarm as the building veers around the edge and the corner of the Thames. You balance now, hovering, bouncing ever so slightly on this really long ladder that is connected to Parliament House.
I get to read her will, finally.
Do you pull that out because you're still holding onto a ladder with 2 hands?
One arm through the rung.
How close am I to Edward?
You're pretty much all adjacent to one another, about maybe 2 yards away, give or take.
I probably hooked my parasol
Mhm.
to the. Then I'm going to kick Edward's shin if he actually pulls out the
All
will
right,
at that moment.
Edward, can you make me a let's go with a athletics check, please. Yeah, I know it's your favorite skill.
6.
6. All right. As she kicks you in the shin, there's a flutter of paper, and the will falls into the water. And you watch as it drifts, following after the proprietor of said will.
Don't you dare, you little filthy man! She's not even dead yet, and even if she was, we can bring her back, so you swing your ass up there, and then we're going in to try and find out where this building is going and how to get her back.
She might have left a note as to where she would want to go, perhaps. I don't know.
In her will?
It pays to be thorough when running checks on things.
Billum, as the lightest individual, one of the soldiers reaches down to grab hold of you. Come on, lad. Let's get you up here, eh?
Yeah. No. Get them first. Get them first. I'm fine.
All right.
I'll hang
you
my foot towards him and say, grab hold of my foot.
One of them grabs hold of your foot.
I'm
Another
trying,
one
like,
walks.
fling myself down to like
Jesus.
lengthen my body to reach down to the next person.
Oh, no. Okay, so your guys are adjacent to one another. So the ladder is
next
kind of
to it. Right.
yeah. The ladder's kind of stretched out that way. But you can
I'm
of
still
course
gonna
use your hand to kind of hold onto the rung with one hand and like sort of lift the belt of one of your teammates and pull them up. You all work together and manage to get up onto the ladder. and slowly make your way across it to eventually solid ground, or solid rooftop, should I say. You find yourselves on the marble roof of Parliament House. There is a small collection of survivors here. Now, I didn't mention them just then, but included among these survivors are, of course, Harriet, who was traveling with you, the union worker, as well as the who was the other person? The merchant, the noble person. These people are still, of course, with you, and they have also made the leap, as it were. As you look around, there's about a half dozen people here that you don't recognize, including what appears to be a rather stern-looking soldier who is somewhat assumed command. Eddie, can we have the soldier up, please, as I show the character to my players? You see a tall and strapping blonde man wearing a uniform. This is not your typical uniform of the guild or anything like that. This is a uniform belonging to none other than a kingsman, one of His Majesty's royal servicemen. Proud and tried and time-honored tradition. He looks to you and says, I've got to say, I've seen many wondrous things in this world, but I never thought I'd watch a lawyer leap out of a window in the top of Big Ben and survive to tell the tale.
Yet.
Which just there's an awkward silence as you're just shooting daggers. Yes, well, about that. Are you all right? Do you need any medical attention? We have a few.
Fine. We're fine. That lady there, she's floating. We got to get that lady off that building.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm having trouble concentrating. Are you some sort of jaundiced child?
I'm a gremlin.
Oh, my stars! I've never seen one. I've lived in London my whole life. Never came across one in my life. I apologize, sir.
But you're wearing this thing.
Yes.
You're obviously important.
Oh no.
You're important, ass, and save that woman.
What woman? Oh, the lady on the
the woman with the hair.
The prima donna Hortensia Fiddlewick is her name.
Yes, no, I saw that. Terrible business. I'm afraid there's little we can do for her. We're all doing our best to survive as we can. I am afraid we're bound to this building for the time being. The waters
Why don't you be quiet for just one moment, if you please? Clearly you're in charge. We all respect your authority and your uniform, but you obviously haven't left whatever grounds it is that you were trained in. Professor, we have to rescue the prima donna. Is there anything you can think of?
Well, we could. So I think, well, no, unfortunately, I was hoping that the royal sir gentleman guardsmen here would come up with a great idea. Otherwise, we will just have to, well, form a rescue party and try to get to her, which kind of seems rather unhealthy at the moment.
I say, you wouldn't happen to be soldiers yourself. You seem quite level-headed, given he points up at literally the sky breaking apart.
Well, no, I had my fights, but the army is too many rules, too much obedience, not my thing.
Unless you're looking to hire people, in which case then certainly we're very, very efficient individuals.
He looks around at the other survivors before taking his hat off and tucking it under an arm. He turns and he says, listen, I'm going to level with you. I'm just a lieutenant. I was placed here to testify at a trial in the courthouse at some point or another, and was told to wait here. The noise, it began, and there was rioting. People were running. I did what I could and led as many people as would listen up here, but I do not have any idea of what to do from this point on. If you have any expertise or any experience in this in handling crises, then I will do my best to help. But these people, they need hope. They need an idea. They need faith that something good is about to happen. At this point, you hear the sound of Big Ben struggling. You sort of hear the straining of the bricks against the waters. But that noise is then immediately cut by the sound of a sneeze, and then following which is the toll of a church bell. Across the road, not too far away, is the church at whatever that place is. Damn it, Westminster Abbey. That's the word. I was like, there's a Beatles song and everything. Anyway, yes, Westminster Abbey's bells ring loud and true, which obviously would not normally make sense given crises and the like, unless, of course, someone was inside ringing the bell themselves. Perhaps survivors, perhaps people safe.
We need a boat. Billim, don't you have a connection or something? Isn't there like a...
Rouge did mention a Bart.
I beg your pardon?
Wearing the other one, mummy, goggles, sometimes a beard, other times a hat.
Eddie, could you show our players for the very first time La Rouge? All right.
It's me.
There you go. All right. So this individual here named La Rouge is, of course, Billem's friend and compatriot, a French gremlin who has, for the longest time, been there when things have gotten quite precarious. However, as you turn your gaze to look around and try to spot the rather opportunistic gremlin, you can't seem to see him even among the other individuals here. There is, however, one person that catches your eye, Edward. It appears to be a woman by the name of Madame Zostra. The reason you know this individual specifically is because a long time ago, flashback scene, a long time ago, a very young lawyer, just out of law school, with buttony, yes, thank you, with brilliant blue eyes and button nose and positive outlook on life, intended to represent the downtrodden and misrepresented, to fight for glory and justice, for king and crown. He had a few clients, 2 or 3 of them, in fact. Some would offer him oranges, others would offer him a beautiful window side seat on the canal to dine at his favorite cafe in service to, as an offering for his services to the downtrodden and poor of London. As you are walking down the streets, Edward, you see in front of you a rather old woman who is sitting by the wayside. What do you do as you approach this elderly woman? Or what did you do, should I say?
How can so fair a rose be seen by so dull a canal in such a wonderful afternoon?
Oh, aren't you a bit of a delight, aren't you, saying such lovely things to an old woman? What's
Well,
your name, sir?
My name? Oh, it's Eddie.
Eddie. Oh, that's a lovely name it is. Eddie, do you have family?
Alack and alas, I have not yet been gifted with the perfect wife. She is eluding me at the moment, but I'm confident that I will eventually get one, this being such a great city and all.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. You have a very memorable disposition. So long as you remain with love in your heart and joy in your soul, you will never be forgotten, young Eddie. She takes hold of your hand and clasps it, and you feel a warmth over you. Years pass. There's a new Edward, a more rotund man with flop sweat and grease over his head, a man driven. You forgot rent last week. They confiscated your cat.
you've found yourself in a miserable state. Don't laugh. As you make your way down a very familiar old street, you see a very familiar old lady. The same woman looks you in the eye and says the words that you've always heard. Hello, sir. Don't I know you from somewhere?
It's highly unlikely. I don't usually hang around with prostitutes.
Oh, oh, the lip on you, sir. Talking to an old woman like that, you should be ashamed of yourself.
The dress you're wearing is almost 50 years out of date. It means you don't have any money. Get out of my way.
As you sort of bowl past,
Oh, 'tis a terrible state of affairs when a servant of the crown will kick an old lady for a coin. Mark my words, whoever you are. No good fortune finds themselves in the company with those who cast a long and dark shadow. And from your girth, good sir, you cast the longest and widest shadow I've ever seen.
Silence your tongue, old woman, lest you become nothing but a shadow.
Oh,
we now find ourselves back on the top of the Parliament House and among the survivors that seem to be clustered together, huddling for warmth. Edward, you recognize an old woman seated among them.
That's not possible.
She is blind in both eyes, decrepit and old, her bones even brittler and thinner than that of John Scarpati. See, he's coughing and dying right now. I caught you. So yes, that is what you see.
Madam Modernbeck, can you tell one of your own at a glance?
Usually, I have a very good eye for those of a less living disposition.
What do you make of that thing? And I point to Madame Zastra.
As you look over at
Excuse me.
As you look
Undead, maybe. Unperson, never. I look over.
as you inspect the old woman. Also, I think we're done with LaRouge. This woman is not going to be LaRouge, Eddie. I'm just going to put that out there. Just laying it out there. It is not LaRouge. Thank you, Eddie.
I have missed an opportunity there.
I was thinking about it. I was really coming to terms with it, but no, it is not. The old woman, however, as Ludovica turns her gaze to it, does indeed seem like she does carry this smell of the undeath. However, in a rarity, she doesn't seem to be using any preservatives. Her method of reawakening is probably akin to what your master would call voodoo, as opposed to traditional styles of necromancy. Billum, for example, you would know, Ludovica, would be familiar with a creature or with a person or a type of thing called a bokor, a spirit person or a shaman who would specialize in the creation of such creatures. It is said that so long as they're in possession of a particular bag of some kind containing parts of their personage while they were alive, they are effectively immortal without so much as upsetting the guild guards by having rotting flesh fall off them and exposed fanged teeth or anything.
Well, yes, there might be someone slightly similar to me here. May I ask why you want to know? Do you have a problem concerning the undead?
I have met this woman precisely 3 times in my life. She has never been a harbinger of joy or happiness, and has usually presaged the arrival of death, doom, and destruction.
Well, you have never struck me as someone who brings happiness. And you usually foretell boring evenings looking at papers. So,
Precisely my
the
point.
problem being?
she's clearly been following me for a long time, and it
'Cause
makes
you've seen
no
her
sense
3
whatsoever.
times.
Scarpati and Billum, do you chime into this conversation at all?
Well, I will be just listening now because I'm not really sure what to make of that situation. So I will be just watching her and watching Edward.
I'll give the old lady the old squints.
Oh man, you think that once upon a time your mammy told you about like this bit of toffee that was stuck under like the seat of a wagon that was probably older than the wagon itself. You think that maybe this woman's skin might be made of that stuff. It's not that pleasant to look at her, and the only thing you can be grateful for is that she is blind, so she doesn't have to look at how horribly decrepit she is.
Can I see a bag, like a Bocca's magic bag on her?
Looking around, she does indeed seem to carry a satchel of some kind, a small purse that seems to be sewn by hand, made of various bits of twine that are brightly colored. Lots of purples, lots of blues. Well, for the discerning eye, very Romanian in origin or appearance.
The old coat might be a Bocca.
What?
You know, voodoo. Swamp magic.
Isn't voodoo Western African religion that has also blossomed among the slave population in the United States?
It's from the bayou.
But she does not strike me as being from the bayou.
Yeah, well, look at her. She's got skin like a toffee. She could be hundreds of years old.
Professor, is your firearm loaded?
Yes, but I don't really see a point in shooting at random old ladies.
Of the several million people who live in London, and of the several million rooftops in London, what are the chances of this strange old woman being on this particular rooftop at this particular time? Does it
Well,
not
how
strike
about we
you as
go
odd?
over and ask her, and I will walk towards her.
As you walk towards her, she seems to not notice you initially. She kind of seems to be listening for something that hasn't occurred. She's waiting, almost counting. As you approach, there's kind of this smell of aniseed and licorice that just sort of comes off her body.
Who goes there? You must speak up. My ears aren't what they used to be, I'm afraid.
Well, apologies for interrupting you, lady, but my name is Professor John Scapati, and you are, for not a real reason that I can discern, upsetting my barista quite very much. It's like,
You mean the man who makes you coffee?
well, he never really did, though. No, he's my lawyer.
I'm fairly sure you said barista. That would be the man who makes coffee.
That's not really the point, though. He seems to know you, and the fact seems to upset
No, I don't
him.
drink coffee. I don't like any of it. If you have an issue, or if your barista has an issue with me, then be it be done. I mean, do you not see the world is ending? I mean, you thought one person would come and ask how an old lady is doing, and before asking them accusations of accosting poor coffee makers?
You are absolutely correct. I apologize. If you don't like coffee, my associate can do really good by you swamp tea. At least I think that's what it is. Whenever I taste it.
It has been a while since I've had some of the shine, but yes, no, I do find that to my tastes. You are quite a well-spoken man. Might an old woman have your name, good sir?
Again, sure. My name is Professor John Scarpati, as I just introduced myself before.
Professor John Scarpati. Yes, well, Professor, you have been marked, you see. Right here. She reaches out with a bony finger and places it on your chest. You have the mark. I see it within you. It encapsulates you, gives you vigor. So long as you have been marked, good Scarpati, you will find guidance in the light. Follow the light, and you will know exactly what truths you seek, for you have spent much in darkness, searching for something you know not. You will find it soon. I am sure of it.
Thank you. You must be a soothsayer. What is your like? How comes that I get such a great telling from you?
There are those who exist in this world to be a part of it, and there are those who exist in this world simply to allow the guidance of the young into this world and upon their path. I am a creature or being of the latter. Some call me soothsayer. Some call me mad woman. Others call me Madame Zostra. At your service, Mr. Scarpati.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Madam Sostra. We just recently, so if I can pull on your wisdom here for a second, we've just recently, unfortunately, lost one of our party members to the waters. Would you have an idea, or would you have an understanding of her well-being, or how we could get her back?
Do you possess anything from her? Maybe a lock of hair, a strap of clothing?
I have a lawyer with me.
Is it her lawyer?
It is her lawyer,
That'll
yes.
do. That'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I will bring him in a second.
Very well.
Picks him up, rolls him like dice. How did the lawyer land? Is he on his head or on his ass? Okay, so in addition, guys, as a very special thank you to Ursus Explicator for your awesome donation, and by the way, thank you so much for it. You, Professor Scarpati, have been marked by the gods. For the remainder of the game, you may use any light source or torch in order to find the quickest, most expedient, and safest route out of or away from the current situation you find yourself in. You need to have something that has a prominent source of light compared to the illumination currently surrounding you. For example, if you were to do it, say, outside when it's overcast and hold up a lantern or a torch, you would have enough illumination. However, if you were in a room that was well lit, it would provide you no benefit. That is now a permanent supernatural ability of Professor Scarpati, simply known as the, let's call it the Light of Zostra.
Very cool. Thank you very much. So I'm just right now I'm going back to Edward, and I'm accompanying him, or I'm trying at least to bring him to Madame Sostra.
I don't want to go anywhere near that woman. You understand, she ruined my life.
I'm pretty sure that you did most of that yourself, but she might help us to bring back your employer, the prima donna. She might have ideas how we could get her back. So why don't you just follow me for a bit here? And if he's resisting, I would kind of tip him, not really threatening him, but just tip him a little bit with or poke him with the tip of my gun.
There's no need for that.
You have been poked with the tip of your gun.
Just
I will walk towards Madame Zostra. But under my breath, Billum, we might need a little edge on this individual. The professor seems to be under her charms, if you know what I mean.
Well, hang on. You want an edge? How about a drink? Have one, why don't you?
No, over her.
Well,
You know, your thing, do your thing. The thing you do.
the thing. I think you should just go talk to the old blocker. Well, you gotta be scared. I just saved your life. You shouldn't be scared of nothing.
I go over to Madame Zostra.
All right. As you make your way over to the old woman, she stops for a moment. She says,
You, sir, you appear to have a different aura about you. One that I scarcely recognize. Have we met before?
We have.
Did you just reveal yourself to the blind woman?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. She says,
I knew tale of a man like you once, a man consumed by his own greed and misery, till it left him naught but a shallow husk of an individual. The poor, poor individual continued to lurk in the shadows of society, barely noticed, till, of course, he finally proved himself. Or am I
It
speaking?
is most certainly the curse you bestowed upon me, you old hag.
Yes, I thought it might be you. And yet here you are before me yet again. Now, I must ask, how important is this woman to you? Do you truly seek her salvation, or do you simply look for another meal ticket, you withering parasite? For you see,
I
if you
spin
wish
around,
to-
so my back is to Madame Zostra. Frau Mollenbeck,
Yes.
do these demented creatures often have the ability to discern the truth or the alteration of a truth for the purposes of presenting a case?
Let's put it like that. And she looks around if there's other people eavesdropping.
looking around, you actually don't see too many people eavesdropping. Of the people that you can see, of course, are the soldier that you met before, the old woman, who, of course, Madame Zostra. You can see Harriet, the reporter whom you escaped the tower with, along with the union worker, the merchant. You see two firemen, this one extra soldier, so not the one that saved that you were talking to in charge, but another guy, and a small family who have sort of gathered together, and one very, very plump merchant.
Well, let's put it like this. I go about death and resurrection in a very scientific way, and she is going about it in a mysterious way, which might also include a little wiggling around of destinies. But that's all I can say. I do not know her tradition. Well, she's not Yoruba, I can tell that from her looks. But it might be.
I turn back to him.
She
The
seems to have
prima
been
donna
continuing
means-
to talk the whole time.
Sorry?
And that is the fifth time that I remember having found someone with great potential that they didn't live up to. There was, of course, the other child, though, so maybe six.
Do you want to answer
six.
to your question, or do you want to die talking to yourself and alone, which is what I suspect the outcome will be anyway?
Oh, you have your answer then.
The prima donna Hortensia is of incredible importance to me. She is very near and dear to my heart, or was recently, until she was cast into those dark, dangerous waters. And it is absolutely imperative that I retrieve her before she becomes completely waterlogged and illegible, and unreachable.
She grabs your hand suddenly and abruptly and pulls it towards her. She squeezes it in a pressure point in the base of your wrist that forces your hand open. As she does so, she whips around and pulls from her hair a tiny needle, which she then stabs you in the hand with.
Ta!
What do you
Mumble in pain and shoot her.
do? You can shoot
Well,
her.
I
You can
shout
shoot her.
shoot her. I don't actually shoot her. She has
Okay.
my hand in her
Oh, yeah,
hand.
yeah, that's true. All right, so as the blood lands, she then takes the blood and licks it off the needle. She says, "Now behold, your hand holds the truth." You look in your hand as it starts to change color. Oh, sorry, the blood, the pooling in your hand changes color. First it goes white, then it goes blue, then it goes red, then white, blue, red. All of a
I'm
sudden,
French.
it then begins to change once more, and you can see almost a crucifix beginning to form in the pool of blood in the palm of your hands.
Are we done here, crone?
Yes, yes. But remember, Frederick, that if you continue along your path of greed and treachery, you will not find that which you asked and you gleaned so many years ago. Stay true to yourself, for deep within this husk of a person lies the heart of a good soul. You just need to dig around in it. I'm fairly sure there's 3 or 4 fat ones in there. She jabs you in the stomach.
He very slowly turns. He does not have a pithy response to this because he's not entirely sure. He has a flashback very briefly of his youth. Madam Mullenbeck, Professor Scarpati, this just happened.
You look
I
at his
show them
hand.
the.
There is nothing on his hand. There's no blood. There's no hole or anything. He's just sort of waving at you.
Your hand happened?
The crucifix. You can't see it? The blood, it went different colors.
You look at your palm and you no longer see the blood or the crucifix.
Well, I once met a soothsayer when I was on an expedition in Africa, and they can, well, cast visions. So whatever you saw might be a hint to what you need to do to get what you seek. So you have been asking for the prima donna, and the crucifix might be an indication of where or how we could find her.
I turn back to the woman. What does it mean? The blue, the white, the red, the crucifix. You're
As you
here
turn-
right now. Tell me.
As you turn back, you notice that there is a blanket where she once stood, a quilted one that seems to have been woven and darned from, again, very Romanian nature, but it's just lying sprawled out. You look around on the rooftop. It's not a big rooftop, the section that you're in, but you see no sign of her.
Billiam, what did you do with her?
I didn't do nothing. Been drinking.
You are aware that by not doing nothing means you did something, right?
Of course.
Okay, just checking.
Well, I don't know. It seems all very strange to me. We need to get off of this blasted roof. That's all I can tell you.
Where
Hey,
to?
we need a boat or a canoe, a raft.
And I think
Sometime.
there are still people in the Westminster Abbey who are ringing the bell for help, so this might be a good direction to go.
At this point, I would like everyone to flip me a notice skill. Those of you who have not interacted, so I believe that is Ludovica and Billum, who did not interact with the old woman, you can do so at a positive flip.
My notice was 3.
9.
I got
I'm
a
at 12.
13.
All right, Billum and Scarpati, the both of you notice that the family of people, you can see a brunette woman, middle-aged woman, and her husband, who appears to be a kind of like a dark-haired individual, looks like very typical kind of 9 to 5 salary man sort of fellow, very nice suit, uh, seem to be talking to their daughter, who is right there. Honey, you have to say something. No, no, we can't. You don't know what they'll do. Yes, well, what if they're guild? What if they're not? Look, there's no guild here. It's not happening. We have to find a way out. Yes, but how? But you know what she can do. No, no, we can't. We cannot. We can't risk exposing her, especially not to strangers. Look, we'll figure out something, honey. Maybe if we stay here, a rescue will come. We can't rely on rescue. We can't just sit idly by.
What's all this?
They look down at you and they say, "Oh, um, nothing. We're just a little hungry. That's all. It's been a long day, and my daughter hasn't eaten."
Well, I could offer a drink or maybe a banana
Both
peel.
both parents simultaneously. No. I mean, we mean thank you. Thank you for your.
Just trying to be kind like a stranger should be.
Yes. Of course. Thank you for your kind offer, sir.
You know anything about a boat? Maybe a canoe?
A boat? I'm afraid I can't say we do. We've seen a few of the boats, but the waves have been too high, and many of the trawlers and the shipping boats have been dragged underneath by the waves.
Right. Maybe. I don't know. Hey, Professor. This is my associate. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. John. You got any food that we can give these kids?
I'm afraid nothing on me at the moment. But if you, why?
Such a shame. Those guild bastards stole our food.
Oh no. That's awful. Why would they have done that?
Because they're bad people.
Billum, you can make a deception check if you would like. Ludovica and Scarpati, the both of you may flip another notice check as the discussion continues to carry on.
That there is a 16.
16, very nice.
Me go to 16 too.
Very nice. 16 as well for John?
At 12 for me.
Oh, that's not good enough. No, it's fine. All right. So Billum, as you're telling this tale of the guild having stolen your food, they listen and they kind of nod. You hear them start saying, yes, no, the guild has been very forceful in London, and given the state of everything, I'm very surprised how much freedom they've been allowed. I don't know why the king's men don't do anything. They shoot a glance over to some of the soldiers. Ludovica and Professor Scarpati, you both notice something and almost immediately kind of stop you kind of look at it and then you kind of have to do a double take. You swear that the teddy bear that is held clutched in the hand of this little girl seems to have, I don't know, caught you looking at it and then gone from watching you to suddenly still.
Ludovica walks over slowly, exchanging a quick glance with Scarpati. You saw? Haben Sie das gesehen, Herr Professor?
Ja, das sah sehr verdächtig aus. Well, that was really, that thing moved, I think.
Ludovica comes closer and hunkers down near the girl, putting her parasol on her knees. Well, excuse me if I've ever heard you talking about the guild, and let's put it like this. They have been a pain in the backside for many unusual people in this city. But
The
I think
parents'
right
mouths.
now their sphere of power has shrunken down to nothing. So don't you be afraid of them. And she kind
She
of
uh she
like
she she she
the
looks at her
nose of the
parents.
bear.
As you do so, the bear kind of looks back to you and then looks up at the small girl. The girl looks down at it almost in an acknowledgement. Our daughter is. She kind of looks around to kind of keep her quiet from the soldiers. Our daughter is gifted, special. Uh, a long time ago, her mother was related to witches and warlocks and all of that. Magic hadn't manifested on her side for generations, so we didn't think much of it. Then we caught her playing with her toys, and no matter what toys we replaced it with, they would simply behave rather peculiar. 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 I've just found a word I can't say properly in an Australian accent. Peculiarly. How do you? All right, Anthony, help me with this.
You're gonna ruin this.
Do it.
Peculiarly, you're right.
Right.
Australians can't do it.
All right, guy, you do it. You can't? No. It's very odd. This is it. Okay. It's weird, okay? I tried to say a word. Now you know you are aware I'm gonna go away and practice that like a million times now. All right. So
I also noticed that you didn't even try to ask the Germans to try it.
no. Well, do you want to give it a go?
I can't do it in an Australian accent, but peculiarly.
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 Peculiarly. God damn, that is
Peculiarly.
really
I
hard.
know the melody is a little bit weird when I do it. Peculiarly.
Yeah, this is the show for the rest of the day. Anyway, alliteration 101: how to speak with the back of your tongue. All right. So anyway, so going back to it, the dolls were acting odd, bizarre, and we couldn't explain. Sometimes they would be there, sometimes they would move. It was only then that we realized that our little girl had connections to magical powers and was able to conjure and create these effigies. We think that maybe she might be able to help by summoning something to be able to help us reach the church, but with the soldiers, when you understand, it's very hard for us to expose our little girl. If it was any one of us, of course, but well, people are what people are, and we love our little girl, and we would never put her in danger.
I would like to check out Billum and the little girl. Are they approximately the same size?
Almost identically the same size.
Well, what if we do a little, play a little trick on the guards here and dress up Billum as your daughter and dress up your daughter as Billum. It would look like as if Billum would casting or conjuring anything here.
They look at each other. They're kind of like, that is the balmiest idea we've ever heard. But you know what? In a desperate time, if you think it'll work, yes, of course.
Put a frock on.
Willem, you sort of head behind what looks to be like a small section of the building, like kind of what you think is like ventilation shafts and the like, and you disrobe. As you do so, the little. Hey, you've gone.
Ludovica also pops up a parasol as a decency protector.
Decency screen.
Yes.
The little girl, after Billum is in his birthday suit, heads behind, changes into the suit. You notice that the girl isn't really saying anything. Very quiet child, mostly because I'm not going to try and sound like a little girl. It's very hard. It's very hard. But she emerges dressed entirely as Billum. Billum, you then step out and you're in a dress. Somehow,
Excuse me, little girl. Can I borrow your teddy bear for a second? And I will take the teddy bear and hand it to Billum.
The teddy bear turns its head 360 degrees to look at Billum.
Well, that's not creepy.
All right, Edward. While the others are playing dress up with Billum, what are you doing?
I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. I'm also not entirely sure about this old woman. She has made Edward contemplate certain things, reflect on certain life choices, perhaps. Think back fondly to the days when he was young and optimistic about saving the world, and how ironic it is that he is now standing here at the very end of the world, regretting 50 years worth of life experience, perhaps. But other than that, keeping an eye on the waters, looking for a means of getting off of this rooftop or a boat, something along those lines. But he hasn't been paying attention at all to the cross-dressing that's happening behind him.
Well, standing next to you is, of course, the soldier who sees that look in your eye and says, "You know, I know many people who have that same look. Usually, they come back from war. Dark times can really put things into perspective."
Is that free, unsolicited advice?
No, it's talking to the rain.
I guess that makes sense in a way.
Hmm.
You are still very young man. You should probably make better life choices or something.
He nods. Meanwhile, at the back, behind where this is happening, unseen by the two who are sharing a moment in the rain, what looks to be a bridge made of teddy bears, slowly clasping each other, grabbing at their arms and their legs, sewn together with string, begins to form from the edge of the building and stretch out almost like a huge, fluffy, plushy appendage. Creates an arcing soft bridge of felt and cotton across the road and into onto the second story platform landing above the cathedral floor. As it lands, there's a very soft and almost restrained, from the parents and some of the people who have noticed this miraculous thing happen as Billum the Gremlin has basically created this pile of stuffed toys.
Well done, Billum. And I clap the young girl on the back and I say, "You did quite good."
As you pat her on the back, you notice that she's actually asleep. Her head droops down as you pat her forward, and she's just sort of holding her position, her eyes shut. You can make a notice check as you touch her as well. Just one. Oh, okay. As you touch her in the back, you notice that some of the dolls begin to fall into the water. She sort of almost starts awake, and then she then falls back to sleep, and more toys reanimate and fill in the gaps.
Oh, I shouldn't wake her up while she's doing that. I shouldn't wake Billum, my associate, up while he's casting that.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. As you see the bridge, the soldier sort of turns and taps Edward on the shoulder. "What's all this? How? Why? Who?"
You're also seeing a bridge of teddy bears?
Either that or I took a blow to the head and I've died.
Madam
Well, look,
Molenbeek, are we all dead?
Most certainly not. Yet.
Well, there's your answer, lad.
Well, look, I've been trained to not look a gift in the mouth. So I mean, everyone, quick, gather up and form a single file. Make your way across this landing. We're going to be sending the firemen over first, followed by the civilians, followed by the soldiers. We're going to make sure that everyone gets across safely and sound. The firemen stand up and begin to make their way to the edge as they sort of use their feet to kind of test the integrity of the bridge. It is soft and rather unstable, but, you know, with enough pressure and with enough faith, it is holding their weight. Ludovica,
Ludovica bends down to unlace her shoes.
you unlace your shoes.
Yes, I'm not going to trample the teddy bears
Aww.
with my boots on. That's,
Yeah, the firemen don't really have that consideration.
yes. But Ludovica is then when it's her time, she's very, very gingerly stepping onto the teddy bears with stockinged feet and just going,
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the firemen go first as they begin to step across. They're more testing the integrity. They kind of give it a bit of a jump every now and then just to make sure it's like, okay, this is stable. Next one. All right. Keep together. All right, Alan. Now, you know, just make sure that you don't look down. Yeah. No, I got this. Okay, we're gonna make it. All right. Hey, Eugene. Yeah, what? You know, if we ever get out of here, I've got to remember to take you bowling. Bowling? Yeah, bowling. You're not going on about that again. You know, ever since your sister moved to America, you've been all talk about these new sports that she's heard of from over there. No, but I mean it this time, you know? I keep telling myself that I couldn't get over the fact that she left England and went to go do that. But, you know, America's not that bad. I think maybe that there is hope that we can maybe, you know, make a new life, get away from London, you know? Alan, listen, you're talking crazy now, okay? Just focus on what we're doing. We need to get across here. Other people are counting on us. Yeah, you're right. They're about 3/4 of the way across when all of a sudden, flying out of the air is a tiny winged creature. This tiny creature, no bigger than maybe a household cat, with these giant spiky wings and nasty, vicious fangs, flutters down from the middle of nowhere and grabs hold of the fireman's shirt. You hear one of them turn, Alan, as he reaches to try and grab his friend. Eddie, can we get a visual on the creature as it pulls and tugs at the coat of the fireman? This creature grabs and yoinks him off the bridge. He plunges into the water. The tiny creature not even being able to sustain the body weight of the fireman as he falls into the briny deep. As he hits the water almost instantaneously, he is submerged by the black waters and disappears from sight. You hear the other fireman go, Alan! He quickly turns and takes a couple of swings at the creature. One of them clips it in the shoulder. It hisses as this black ooze drips from its shoulder, and it flies into the sky away. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! He throws his axe out of frustration into the ocean or into the water. He makes his way to the edge and stops and breathes heavily. He looks over and he gives a thumbs up. Everyone's obviously clearly seen the creature. He's giving a thumbs up more for the stability of the teddy bears. The soldier says, "All right. Well, it looks like we've got hostiles on this bridge. Anyone who's armed, please carry your weapons at the ready and keep a weather eye. We're going to move in groups of 3. Stay close together and stay attentive. We'll have the 4 of you go together as you have, of course, the young gremlin with you. But the rest of us, I will travel with the family, and the rest of you can group up. All right." They begin to form small groups here and there. All right. What is it you guys wish to do? Or more specifically, when would you like to travel across this bridge?
Just to clarify, when you are saying we're having the young gremlin with us,
Oh,
are
you know what I
referring-
mean.
Yeah. Okay.
You have a little girl.
Dressed as a gremlin.
Hmm.
Well, you can have a
Now-
gremlin dressed as a little girl, but, you know, I think the gig would be up at that point.
Well,
I-
I
A pretty dress.
You watch as
Well,
the
let's
soldier
get
comes
across
over.
this infernal thing before it collapses. Billum, you
yeah,
go
let's-
first.
Well, of course I'll go first. Women and children first.
All right. You hike up your dress and begin to make your way across first Billum. As you do so, the sailor goes, it's a terrible state of affairs when London's just filled with jaundiced children. He looks at the mother and father. I'm terribly sorry. It must be very difficult. Kind of keep making your way through.
I will try to merrily step as a young female child, almost skipping across a bridge made of teddy bears.
Okay. Just to clarify, it is raining. There is a torrential downpour. There is, of course, there is, of course, the giant cascading waves of death. Meanwhile, skipping across a bridge of teddy bears is a gremlin in a dress. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the phrases in my life that I never thought I'd have to say, but here we are, saying it nonetheless. And Billum, while you are skipping, please make me an athletics or an acrobatics check as you do so.
I will indeed. Oh, thank gosh. That will be, what is that? Is that a 10?
That is an 11.
12.
Oh, yeah. Okay. With a 12, you manage to make your way to the halfway point. Now, ladies and gentlemen in our audience who are enjoying the show, first of all, of course, welcome to the show. I hope you guys are having a good time. I am having a splendiferous time, as are my players who are doing an amazing job of just being themselves. You know what? I'm actually really loving all the little story bits that are happening here today. Now, there's a reason why I've broken the pace of my game to address my audience, which, doesn't happen very often. And that is because I would like, at this point in my campaign, to remind everyone that over the course of your donations through this season, we have been building up what I like to call the boss bar. Once the boss bar reaches $100, we will generate a super boss that will suddenly, unexpectedly, and very imminently drop upon our group. We are currently $20 away from our first boss bar. No reason I've decided to stop this, but Billum is halfway over the bridge, $20 from the boss bar. Just saying. Who's next? Time is possibly very imminently on the line here. Ludovica.
Yeah, children and women first. That's what Willem said.
All right, Ludovica, you
Wait,
again.
wait. Is Hargrave objecting to Ludovica going next? He wants to spot what's
I
going
think
on.
he's objecting to the public service announcement.
Ah.
All right.
Yeah, Ludovica holds her shoes, her
Mhm.
handbag, and her parasol, and crams it all under one arm, and with the other one, she's got a pistol ready.
Very well. Your
And
pistol.
then, on stockinged feet, she steps across the teddy bears.
All right. Athletics or acrobatics check. It is your choice.
Well, we're going to lose the last girl in the group.
Well, it's a 3.
That's a 2.
All right. Do you wish to cheat?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, cheating with a 12. That's a 13, by the way, but yeah, we'll still cheat with a 13.
Yeah, but I've got a -1.
Oh, right, yes. So, very well. Taking up the 13, you pretty much immediately sort of hit a strong wind as it sort of slightly pushes you to one side, as you then very quickly correct yourself and make your way to the middle with Billum. Edward, would you like to go next?
Yes. Since I don't have any shoes to take off, I will be walking without shoes on as well. Did I see Ludovica saying thank you to the teddy bears?
You did.
With the words of Madame Zostra hanging heavy upon my thoughts, and me being heavy upon the teddy bears, I walk as only someone who has been fat will know, like a fat man trying to walk like a light man, only failing miserably.
So just on your
And
tippy
that is
toes.
to, sort of try and float, pretend one's a zeppelin rather than a lead weight, and very, very apologetically walk across going, I suppose, thank you, I'm sorry, thank you. You're very nice bear, very, very nice. Nice stitching on that very nice stitching. Lovely buttons. Very thank you.
You notice that one of the bears turns to look at you and rubs you on the foot.
No, suddenly the speed increases and Edward runs across the bridge.
Make an athletics check. You can make one at a positive flip because of your sudden and imminent haste.
Oh, great! My favorite role. Positive flip, you say?
Indeed. So take 2, take the highest.
Yay, that would be 5 there, Jim Bob. I'm going to cheat because I
can
feel
cheat.
like this bridge, I don't want to be on this bridge no more. So there is a 12 total check.
All right, that is a 12 as you make your way in towards the center. You guys are actually doing really well. You guys are actually supposed to be attacked by having at least one of you fail. No one's failed yet. I've said this. Professor Scarpati, would you like to go next?
Well, yeah, now that you said this,
Yep.
so I assume the my Billum, like
Mhm.
my little girl Billum, is still sleeping, right?
Yes, she is.
So I will gently pick her up and kind of cradle her a little bit while
As you do so, the integrity of the teddy bear bridge begins to falter. As it does, as soon as you pick her up, it almost starts to sag. Everyone sort of starts to lose their stability as they.
I will not touch that kid.
All right, you put the kid down.
Yeah, sorry, Billum. I think I have to leave you here. And I will run over the bridge.
All right, make an athletics check if you'd be so kind.
Well, do I get so as a father of a 9-year-old daughter, that is really hard for me. But would it be do I get the feeling that if I wait until the last person is over, I could pick her up and run before the bridge completely falters? Because then I would wait.
You absolutely feel like you could. It would, however, come
Okay.
at a tremendous risk.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I'm old. I've lived through more dangerous things.
All right. Realizing very quickly, Professor Scarpati knows that there are 2 options here. The first involves sacrificing the small girl. The parents, not even realizing that this is going to be the case, probably would stay behind and perish as well. Do you tell the parents of your plan, or do you allow them to cross, not knowing?
I will because my plan is to run over the bridge with the child and hand it back to them. I will tell them, and I will definitely succeed. I mean, come on. I will tell them, go on, go first. I will be right behind you.
Make a convince check as you say this to the parents. They are convinced. They hold each other tightly and make their way across the bridge. Billum, Ludovica, and Edward, as they begin to make their way forward, you then proceed to where the fireman is ready to basically bring you onto the chapel landing. The Abbey landing, sorry. As the parents go into the middle, as does the soldier. Billum, you can kind of see that John hasn't come through. He hasn't said anything about staying behind or anything like that. So you're kind of a little bit anxious. Like you're like, why isn't he come? Why isn't he follow? He's supposed to follow us, but there's these other people coming.
A bead of sweat will tip down my head, and I'll look back over the bridge, and I'll do my best to impersonate a small girl while doing Billum's voice. Be like, "What about the professor?"
The professor said he'll be on his way. One of the parents says. Harriet and the others make their way across as well, but as they do so, everyone can make me a notice check. Now, to let everyone know how the mechanics are going to work, anyone who fails this check will summon one of these creatures. Anyone who succeeds will notice one of those creatures. I will notice one of the failed. Yeah. So, what do we get?
17.
You are fine. Willem?
I'm gonna cheat.
Okay.
I'm going to use my 6 to make that a total of 10.
Very well. A 10 it is. That's 2
I got a
successes.
3.
That's 1 failure.
I've got a card up my sleeve if you need it.
I don't. We can shoot
Well, no,
this
he
thing. I
can't
have a gun,
discard to use it. 'Cause
and
he's out of cards.
I've got nothing to discard.
All right,
Bent.
Professor.
Oh, I need to do it too. Sorry.
Mhm. No, that's fine.
Well, I'm going to cheat that.
Very well. Okay. One
8.
lone. You know what? We're gonna make this a kind of a boss thing. So one of these little flying critters makes its way back. This one you recognize very, very clearly. It has a scar on its chest from an axe wound that you know was dealt by the fireman from before. This one deserves a name. Could I ask that our audience members please decide a name for this now named NPC mini boss? Well, it's a mini boss, as in it's tiny. And yeah, I'll have Eddie tell me what it is. As this creature swoops in to attack Harriet and the others, we'll have everyone roll or flip initiative if you would be so kind, and we shall go into combat as you try your hardest to protect those still on the bridge.
Nine initiative for me.
All right, 9,
I have an 11.
11. Yep,
5.
5, and
Sorry, I was muted. I think that's a 13.
13. Nice. Okay. So, Professor, you are up first, followed by Billum, followed by Edward, followed by the creature, and then followed by Ludovica. And of course, that is
Right,
the beast you see.
The so people are still on the bridge, right? And the creature is attacking. So it's
is
not
true.
yet. It's not yet my turn to pick up my Billum and run. So
Not yet.
I will step a little bit aside, just because I don't want to wake up the girl with me firing shots. And I will fire at the creature 2 times.
All right, make your attack. As you fire your first shot, you hear it sort of.
Okay. That's 8.
An
8
8
to hit.
An 8 is not enough. You require a 10 in order to strike this creature.
Yeah. Well, then I will have to fire a second time.
Very well. Your first shot veers off to the side.
But that's an 11 now.
An 11 will hit. That is negative flip for your damage. So flip 2, take the lowest as your bullet flies and actually catches the side of the creature.
That's
minimum
just
damage.
1 minimum damage, which would be 2.
All right, 2 points of damage. As it strikes this creature, more of its sort of bluish black blood flies from the wound. It sort of staggers in the air for a moment and takes notice of you. Next up is Billum.
I'll quickly pat myself down and realize that both my garrote and my knife and my clothes, which are on the girl across the other side of the bridge. But very easily, I will pat myself down and find that stashed between my buttocks, I have my hip flask full of moonshine.
Yes, you do.
I am going to attempt to do something very dumb and throw my hip flask at this flying creature.
All right, you will need to make a throwing check as you are attempting to hoik your flask of very flammable moonshine at this creature.
What is that based off of?
Throwing is based off your grace if you do not have ranks in it.
That is a 5.
A 5 has you watch as the hit flask goes whoop, 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 splash.
Fuck.
Well,
Um,
drawing out your flask and throwing it into oblivion are your two actions, I'm afraid. Next up is Edward.
I'm going to shoot this thing.
Very well. Your gun was already in hand. You may absolutely fire when ready.
Bang. 12.
Nice. Your first shot clips it square in its thigh. Blood flying outwards. Flip 2, take the lower. What?
What?
I may have flipped the. There we go.
No, hang on. I
No.
think I know what you did. I think you did that. There you go.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
It takes 2 damage.
Very well. 2 points of damage as the creature gets shot once more. You watch as it sort of reaches around and seems to grab something from nestled between its butt cheeks as well, following after Billem's thoughts. It doesn't
It's
have
also
time to
got a
stop you
flask
from
of
attacking
moonshine.
you a second time, though.
Just you wait until Edward reaches between his buttocks.
Do you have one more attack?
I can. If I can attack twice, yes, sure.
I mean, you don't have to. I'm just saying.
I want to shoot it again.
Okay.
For 14.
Wow. Damn. You know what? Forgettable as you may be, you are a damn good shot, apparently. All right. Flip, what was it, 15?
14.
14. Okay, flip 2, take the lowest, but you flipped a red joker. So flip one more. Superfluous, because a red joker will do maximum damage +1 and a critical effect. So
4
what is your-
damage.
So 4 damage in total.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that puts it on 8 damage. You may describe the rather gory explosion that occurs when this thing is shot.
I should move myself to the States. I reckon I might be a dab hand at combat. The bullet punctures through the creature's lower jaw and out of its left eyeball.
As it
Aha.
does so, you watch as the creature spirals downwards towards the water. As it lands in the water, you see this roiling and churning. All of a sudden, you see a tin can float to the surface of the water before it starts to drift. It seems to have been the thing that it held in its hand for a brief moment before the bullet flew through its brain. It appears to be a can of baked beans with a word written along it. Heinz baked beans.
That sounds like the chat was responsible somehow.
And you know
Well-
whose community that was.
Look, that's the best I had. No, that was a really good shot, and I have no excuse for why it wouldn't instantly vaporize this dude. All right, so my mini boss was indeed made quite short. I thought he'd have at least a little bit of more of a moment, but as you begin to make your way through, however, the last of the people make their way across. Because we are now at the end of combat, you guys each get to discard as many cards as you want from your hand and draw back up to 3. All right. Here we go. As the last of them make their way across the fluffy bridge, you watch John, as the only ones left on your side are now just you and the little girl.
Well, I think it's time. So I will get myself ready. I will just like going into sprint position and summon every strength I have. And as I pick up the girl, Billum, I start running as fast as I can across the bridge.
All right. You grab her by the waist and you begin to run. Now, to do this with enough speed and with enough time, you need to make 3 successful checks before you fail 2.
Oh, great.
Your first, you can choose any of these checks to use. You may use your evasion, your athletics, your acrobatics, or your survival. Any of those 4 skills are available to you.
That's great. Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue with the game master. The Fate Master. So
Fate
my
Master.
first flip is going to be an acrobatics.
All right.
Oh, that's
With a
pretty
12,
good.
you grab hold of the child and you take your first steps. As you do, the ground still seems stable. You're not quite sure where it's going to start sagging first now that no one's on the bridge. But as soon as you step out, you can see the very panicked look on everyone's eyes. The teddy bears, which were in a tight cluster, suddenly widen throughout the actual bridge itself. And as you start moving, you can feel the softness returning to the bodies of the creature. Next check.
Next check. You said I have to make 3 checks. I can fail 1, right? I can't
3
fail more than
successful
1.
before 2. Yes, 3 successful
Okay.
checks before 2 failures.
Perfect. So I'll try the evasion check now.
Okay.
Do we have any rope on our side whilst the professor's running?
Good question. They don't have any on their persons. You do know that that Harriet would likely have a photo reel or a film reel, like one of those things.
Evasion is based on grace or speed?
Speed.
Well, then it's a 6.
A 6 is not enough. As you attempt to try and quickly move, sadly the quickened
I will-
pace.
Can I use Billem's cheat card here and discard one of mine?
What would your total be?
Well, then it would be an 8.
You would still fail.
Okay, in that case, I will not do that. I will just fail it.
I have
Okay.
a question.
Oh, there's an objection being played. All right.
Yeah.
The lawyer discards a card from his hand and permits that check to be ignored. Fate is now changed as you draw and take the next result, come hell or high water. Is it the last card?
I think it is.
No, you've got 7 more cards.
I know. I got. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Oh,
It's not getting better.
even with that, the speed is just not the answer. As you run, the teddies fall from underneath you. You almost trip with the child. You begin to crawl on your arms and legs forward. Make your next check.
Well, that means that I now have to. Can I repeat? Can I do another acrobatics?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, in that case, I would try to I fall to my knees. I stumble as the bridge slowly falls to pieces, and I try to get back up. I try to do a barrel roll, picking up the child and running. So it's going to be another acrobatics check. Which would then be an 11.
With an 11, you use your acrobatics and begin to sort of rise back up to your knees. You are now falling. You descended, but at a slower pace. There's still some magic left in the teddies, and they are in fact hovering in the air, but they are descending, and you're almost now climbing it like a stairs to get back up to where you were before. That is 2 successes and 1 failure. Ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this.
I would just do what was it? Athletics was the last one where I could just leap and hope that I could reach whoever is holding out his hands to me, right?
Yes, Willem, Ludovica, hold my coattails. I'm going to step out onto the bridge and put my hands out towards the professor. You're my only friend. You can't die.
Okay, I will
Before
do
we
my
get into that,
athletics.
Before we get into that, this show of friendship, Edward, if you wish to, you may permit Professor Scarpati to use your twist of fate. which of course
Yes,
is the-
whatever. He just can't fall into the water and die. It's horrible down there.
Very well, Eddie. Eat the imp from Edward, and Professor Scarpati. You may flip a positive flip on your athletics check to try and leap to catch on to your friend Edward. So flip 2, take the highest.
Just pointing out that this is based on might, right?
Correct.
Which I have a -2.
All right, here it comes.
I think I will cheat.
Oh, cheats it with the big number 13. As you get to the edge, you actually don't make it initially. As you zoom in closer and you raise the child up, you sort of place the child. You place the he throws the child over his shoulder. You place the child just above the landing, but grabbing onto your forearms is the rather thick, meaty hands of Edward, who grabs onto you as you then swing and now dangle from the second story of the abbey. There's a couple of beads of sweat on your head as this happens. There is also a strong gust of wind that suddenly blows your hat from your head as you've been caught. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Schüttel dein Haar für mich.
You pull and you strain and you lift the professor onto the ledge. There is a cheer that goes out and a round of applause for the professor. Big
Well,
hugs.
thank you, Edward. That was really close. You saved my life.
Got my name right.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
With that,
but a good thing that you were saved, of course. I mean, it wouldn't do. It would be a violation of my contract and all that sort of thing. You know how those things are.
Shut up and pat. Thank you, man.
with that, you hear the sound of the abbey bells ringing once more. The others turn and open the stained glass window entrance to the upper landing, and as they make their way inside, you see what appears to be a small shanty town. Makeshift tents have been placed as pews have been cleared from the main abbey floor. There's about 100, maybe 200 people crammed into this space. As people struggle and huddle together, you notice that there is something strange here. The waters almost part, moving around the abbey. Protecting it is some kind of ward or charm, as the waters seem to barely cause the building any structural damage. You're not quite sure what it is, but it is, of course, a safe haven, for now at least. But what, of course, became of Hortensia Fiddlewick? What will happen to these individuals? Will they manage to stick out and ride the storm here in this place of sanctuary? Find out next week when we return from to our next session of Through the Breach Avalon Society. Thank you so much, of course, to my players. Now we are ending a little bit early, and that is because I thought that was such a nice moment, right? I thought everyone had some really, really good moments today. So we're going to do something special at the end of today's episode, and that is we're going to get some insight from my players about today's session and some of the stuff that occurred, and maybe just plunge into a little bit of the what happened for today. So let's of course start with Anthony. Anthony, tell us who you are, throw the plugs in, and then of course tell us what you thought about today's game.
Of course, I'm Anthony. You may also know me as Vegemite Dangerous. I am the managing director and producer on Roll for Damage, an Australian Twitch channel here that does Dungeons and Dragons and other TTRPGs. You can find us playing games pretty much all week. We got a lot going on. I've been playing Billum, which I think for the last couple of episodes has been going through some, I want to say emotional turmoil, something that's really like changing the way he views his companions here. Where he's starting to see value in keeping people around, certain people more than others around. Not to say that he doesn't value people. Definitely the change in Edward, I think, in the scene where we were talking about the old lady, it's like, I saved your life. you have to be brave now. Please be brave. And Edward has now shown that. And I think Billum's probably going to view him in a new light, similar to I think what just happened with Scarpati there. And oh, there is definitely a heart warm thing going on here for Scarpati. I think is changing his opinion of his original con plan. So yeah, he's a complex little goblin.
I do love it. I do love it. Next up, of course, Olzeve from Germany, from Orkenspalter TV. Myri, tell us about, well, obviously, promote yourself, tell us what you've got going on, and then tell us, of course, about Ludovica. What's happening in the world and the mind of this wonderful character?
Yes. Hi, I'm Myri again. And you can find me under Orken Sparta TV or as Myri Stritter. Both are really hard to spell for most people. And we do role-playing stuff, like basically everyone here, just in German. And Ludovica, I think she's one of the most stable characters at this point because she's very much at peace with what she is. And the only thing is that usually she would have been very much harder about on the point that we need to get Hortensia back because that's one of her very few friends who actually accepts her as, being undead, and that's fine. But since metagaming, I know that it's just because Janet is not feeling up to gaming today. Poor Janet. Hope you get better soon. And then so I kind of step back a little bit from that. But
I think there was one really, really lovely moment with Ludovica, and that was the making the parents and the kids at ease with the fact that their child was special. Like revealing yourself as an undead in this world is always fraught with danger. You don't know who you can trust or who you can rely on with that kind of secret. And when Ludovica like open the veil, I actually did generally have that moment of like in character, like like, oh my god, like, and it's not only just the shock of her being obviously undead, but the shock of her trusting them with this secret as well. It showed that they could trust her, and that I think was such an important moment. It was an unspoken moment, but I guess that's again one of the reasons why I wanted to do this at the end of today's game today, is because I think there were a lot of these very cool unspoken moments, and I like to vocalize them with you guys. Next up, of course, playing the role of Professor John Scarpati is the ever-talented white-haired wolf himself, Till from Dungeon Fog. Tell us about yourself, and of course, the insight into Till. Insight into Till, of course.
Well,
but
how much time do you have?
So,
if you're looking for me, you can find me on Dungeon Fog, which would be @DungeonFog on Twitter or /DungeonFog on Facebook or dungeonfog.com on the website. It's our map making tool. It's an online map making software where you can draw your own battle maps. I'm playing John Scarpati here in this game, and I think I was really happy about today's game because I was finally being able to play how this old archaeology professor, because he's not really, archaeology is not his big thing. It's more like he was a tomb raider, he was a grave robber, he was someone who stole artifacts and sold them. But in his youth, he was still someone who was doing that in person rather than hiring people. And running over that bridge and trying to muster your strength and your agility as if you were still young, that is what is kind of bringing life back into John Scarpati. He suddenly feels that he still has something to offer, and he still has a game to play here. So I think that was a cool situation for him. And also, again, he's like showing sentiment is a dangerous game for someone who has so many shady business partners. So he's trying to hide all emotions towards the group, being more a little bit snarky when he can. But seeing that Edward was holding out his hand and trying to catch him was touching. And he was like, yeah, okay, I have a friend there. Um, yeah, I think it was a really cool game today.
Fantastic. Awesome. So glad to hear. And like I said, I mean, for me, and I mean, it was really great. And I love that connection because the thing is, when you're running a game and trying to tell a narrative, one of the biggest things is it's not about you, it's not about your challenge, it's not about how hard things are, it's about the stage you set and what they do with that stage. And that was such a great moment with that, pulling Scar Party through and having that, sort of really big high risk high reward scenario. And I think honestly that was probably my favorite Scar Party moment, hands down, for the series at the moment. It was beautiful. That was what it was. It was just flat out beautiful, and I loved it. So yeah, awesome, awesome. And of course, Edward, you have finally earned your name among your friends. There's kind of so many touching moments here. Of course, Guy from How to Be a Great Game Master, always upping the game when it comes to role playing on both sides of the table. Tell us, Guy, about where we can find you, all of your wonderful things, and of course, what Edward's experience today was.
Right. Well, yes, you can find me on How to Be a Great GM on YouTube or on Twitch. And I have two channels. One is advice channel on how to be a better player or how to be a better GM, and the other one is live sessions where I'm playing games and things. And I think, yeah, today was a very different session to what we've normally had because it was more about the personal stuff than anything else. And I think it was an interesting, you put a lot of trust in your players as a GM, which I think is definitely a good thing. But at the same time, I think sometimes it's like, wow, where does he want this to go now? And then I think the best part is that then you roll with wherever it goes. So you might have had some kind of intent, but so for example, the Madame Zostra thing, going back into Edward's past, yeah, it was a curious one, and I wasn't entirely sure what you wanted me to do there. So I just went with what felt right, and then you built it in and drove it in a specific direction. So I think that was fantastic from that perspective. But yes, I think today's session was I think we were looking for what was going on, and then when we saw that it was going to be, this is more about the immediate moment on the roof rather than driving the principal plot forward, I think everyone rose to the occasion. I mean, there were just some lovely moments. Billum has no weapons, so he throws his hip flask, and it was just lovely.
And drops the F-bomb along with his hip
as
flask.
everyone's pointed out, Ludovic's little veil and providing advice. So yeah, I think it worked really well. And the opportunity, I mean, the note that I made here about Madame Zostra is that apart from the crucifix thing, which you'll figure out later on, is that it's a potential character change from money grabbing to happy and spontaneous. But that is not an instantaneous shift. And so I think that's one of the reasons why, although, yes, Edward is definitely friends with Scarpati, I think he realized that, but then needs to make sure, of course, that everybody else doesn't realize that, because he's not an idiot. He has an image to maintain, even if it is an illusionary one, apparently. But it's going to be interesting to see how that story progresses. So I think today was a very interesting change of direction, and I think you handled it very well. So that's what I've enjoyed.
Well, thank you so much. I of course love playing with you guys, and for me, going on that note, I wanted to share something with you guys that I got asked about this particular show. A person asked me, like, you play with such amazing role players, such as, literally the cast from Avalon Society. How do you do it? How do you keep everything together? How do you stop personalities from clashing? How do you do all that. For me, there's one simple truth, and Guy hit it on the head. I have an unfaltering trust in each and every person I have at this table, like flat out. There is a great moment that I can prove that. We had in last week's game a moment where Guy was attacked by the giant demon creature. Eddie, can we pull up the demon creature again? Because I love showing it to people because I always love watching the player's face when I pull it up. So Spring Heel Jack, this monster that is literally the size of a giant with claws and teeth and horns, they literally watched it rip a person in half with its bare hands. Flew out of the window of Big Ben, which is, I think we found out was like 90 meters in the air, above a roiling torrent of water that is an instant death kill if you fall into it, in a game which isn't based on a lot of hit points. I mean, I think everyone's got no one's got more than 7 or 8 hit points. And he's hanging there, literally at the precipice of death. He's got 6 hit points, right? But at not one point did any member of my group start flicking through their character sheets, trying to find a solution, trying to outwit me, trying to solve a problem or anything like that. Every single time I bring something like this up, it's reaction. I react to it. I do something based on it. I build my narrative. I build my story because they trust me that I'm not just going to be this big colossal jerk and drop them into the death and then go, well, I guess I did that then, and walk off. It is going to be something narrative. It is going to be something exciting. It is going to be something good. And not once do I ever feel like I need to rein in, control, or otherwise stop these wonderful people from being creative. Moments like that, I build to hear what you guys want to create, because it gives me the best insight as a GM or as a Fate Master to know what elements of the story I need to move in what directions to appeal or to build the characters that you want to build. That's one of the goals of the GM, to help give and facilitate the characters they want to have. Otherwise, they may as well start at level 1, start at level 20, and then just have everything you need, and then be who you are at the start of the game that you are at the end. Yeah, I'm not into that. I love things like growth. I love how everyone had today. I'm literally going to call it the rooftop moment. Everyone had the rooftop moment. I'm really sorry that Janet wasn't here for it, because like I said, I've been really keen and excited for today, and there was a little bit there for Hortensia and Ludovica, but I am going to definitely save that for, of course, the colony that they will envision next week. So do come back, tune into this, because we have a wonderful game in store for you guys. So that's it from me, of course, and I have been Michael, your Fate Master, the Dead Aussie Gamer. You can find me pretty much anywhere. You can type Dead Aussie Gamer, you'll find my face. Primarily, I stream on Twitch, though now I am uploading more and more stuff to YouTube. Most of them are live plays, but look, if you ever find me on Discord and you ask me a question, I will 100% just answer the question, maybe even make a video for it. That's just how I work. If you, of course, also love the stuff that I do, then also keep your eye on this space here, the Mercs of Mischief channel, who are, of course, the absolute wonderful and amazing people who have allowed us to make this show possible. They run Mercs of Mischief on Sundays, Too Many Warlocks on Mondays, and Poisoned Paradise on Tuesdays. All of them are live here and also broadcast again on YouTube. So be sure to follow here, follow there, follow everywhere, share the love, especially around the world. There is so much going on right now, and these few moments are a really good way to grasp onto the things we love and share that with the people that we love. So thank you very much, everyone. We love each and every one of you. From us to you, as always, from the Dead Aussie Gamer, game hard or die trying. Bye-bye.